Ang mga pananaw at opinyon ng pag-uulat ng mag-uulat sa programang ito ay hindi ang pangunahing posisyon o pahayag ng pamumunuan ng organisasyong ito. The views and opinions expressed in this live report are those of the presenter and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of the management of this organization. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to our InkluRadyo special report episode for this day. Today is Sunday, March 20, 2022. I am Carlos Miguel Kanahashi, your host for today, and together with me is our technical supervisor, Sir Mark Paulo Betita. The reason why we're beginning this show early is we have to give way for the vice presidential debates produced by the Commission on Elections or COMELEC. And we're broadcasting simultaneously on InkluRadyo Facebook page and to be uploaded and viewed on the next day on the Hands in Inclusion Philippines YouTube channel. We shall commence our presentation in just a moment. We'll be back after our commercials. Now this.
Para sa aking pamilya, para sa aking kapwa, at para sa bayan. Kahit mahirap, kahit masakit, mahal Matapang pa rin tayo. Ang tropa, hindi nang iiwan. Ang senyas, isang instrumento. Ilang beses matumba, tayo huling babangon. Luman ang ating pinagaling. Tayo ay muling liliwan. Para sa pangarap, para sa pamilya, at para sa bayan. Tayo ang ida. Tuloy ang inclusion.
Okay. Welcome back to our InkluRadyo special report episode for this day. This afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, we will discuss a very important occasion in relation to PW's the inclusion in our country and throughout the world. It's World Down Syndrome Day. Sir Mark, can you please activate the share screen, please, of our presentation? Thank you. Please. Okay. Next slide, please. Okay. So what is World Down Syndrome Day? World Down Syndrome Day, ladies and gentlemen, is a global awareness day which has been officially observed by all countries under the United Nations organization since 2012. The date for World Down Syndrome Day being the 21st day of March. Why? Because it is selected to signify the uniqueness of the triplication of the 21st chromosome which causes Down syndrome. Next slide, please. Let me tell you a story about the history of World Down Syndrome Day. Down Syndrome Association of Singapore launched and hosted the World Down Syndrome Day website from 2006 to 2010 on behalf of DSI for global activities to be recorded. The Brazilian Federation of Associations of Down Syndrome worked with Down Syndrome International and its members to launch an extensive campaign to generate international support. Following the joint works between Brazil and Poland, the resolution was adopted during the Third Committee of the United Nations General Assembly on November 10, 2011. Next slide, please. Down syndrome groups, organizations, and associations throughout the world campaigned for their governments to co-sponsor the resolution. The resolution was eventually co-sponsored by 78 member states of the United Nations. In addition, Down Syndrome International launched a petition for the adoption of World Down Syndrome Day by the United Nations. This received more than 12,000 signatures in a 2-week period and was presented to the chair of the third committee. On December 19, 2011, the United Nations General Assembly declared March 21st of every year as World Down Syndrome Day. Next slide, please. Okay. The United Nations General Assembly decided, with an effect from 2012, to observe World Down Syndrome Day in all United Nations member countries, as well as the relevant organizations of the United Nations system, other international organizations, as well as NGOs and the private sectors. Every year yan, ladies and gentlemen. Why? The purpose of this event is to observe World Down Syndrome Day in order to raise public awareness of Down syndrome. Down Syndrome International would like to thank everyone who supported this campaign, with the thanks to the Brazilian government, the Federation of Associations of Down Syndrome in Brazil, and other member organizations who appealed to their governments for their support, and to everyone who signed the petition. Next slide, please. What is the essence of World Down Syndrome Day? Well, first of all, Down syndrome is associated with increased risk of some health problems, including heart defects, hearing loss, weakened immune systems, poor eyesight, and a heightened risk of early onset dementia. Many of these problems are treatable given knowledgeable and well-resourced medical care. Next slide, please. Let's have a review of what Down syndrome is. Down syndrome, or what we call as trisomy 21, is a naturally occurring chromosomal arrangement that's always been part of the human condition. It is universally present across racial, gender, or socio-economic lines in approximately 1 in 800 live births, although there is considerable variations worldwide. Down syndrome usually causes varying degrees of intellectual and physical disability and associated medical issues. Next slide, please. What are the causes of Down syndrome? Human cells contain 23 pairs of chromosomes. One chromosome comes from your father, the other from your mother. It results when abnormal cell division involving 21 chromosomes occurs. It results in an extra, partial, or full chromosome 21 in the cell division abnormalities. This extra genetic material is responsible for the problems of Down syndrome. The three genetic variations cause Down syndrome are the following. Next slide, please. We have trisomy 21, mosaic Down syndrome, and translocation Down syndrome. I'll explain this to you one by one. In trisomy 21, Down syndrome is caused by trisomy 21, wherein the person has 3 copies of chromosome 21 instead of 2 in all cells. It is caused by the abnormal cell division during the development of the sperm cell or the egg cell. In mosaic Down syndrome, a person has only some cells with an extra copy of chromosome 21. This mosaic of normal and abnormal cells is caused by abnormal cell division after the fertilization. In translocation Down syndrome, it also occurs when the portion of chromosome 21 becomes translocated in another chromosome before conception. These children have the usual 2 copies of chromosome 21, but they also have additional genetic material of chromosome 21 attached to another chromosome. There are no known behavioral or environmental factors that cause Down syndrome. Next slide, please. A question. Is Down syndrome inherited? Most of the time, it is not inherited. Why, ladies and gentlemen? It's because it was caused by a mistake in cell division during early development of the fetus. Translocation, Down syndrome, can be passed from the parent to the child. Only 3 to 4% of children with Down syndrome have translocation. Some of them are inherited it from one of their parents. When balanced translocations are inherited, the parents have some rearranged genetic material from chromosome 21 to another chromosome. No extra genetic material. He or she has no signs or symptoms of Down syndrome. It can pass an unbalanced translocation onto children, causing Down syndrome in the children. Next slide, please. What are the risk factors of Down syndrome? Some parents have a greater risk of having a baby with Down syndrome. The risk factors include advancing maternal age, being carriers of the genetic classification for Down syndrome, having one child with Down syndrome. In advancing maternal age, a woman's chances of giving birth to a child with Down syndrome increase with age because older eggs have a greater risk of improper chromosome division. A woman's risk of conceiving a child with Down syndrome increases after 35 years of age. Most children with Down syndrome are born to women under the age of 35 because younger women have far more babies. Being carriers of the genetic translocation for Down syndrome, men and women can pass the genetic translocation for Down syndrome for their children. In having had one child with Down syndrome, parents who have one child with Down syndrome and parents who have a translocation themselves are at increased risk of having another child with Down syndrome. A genetic counselor can help parents assess the risk of having a second child with Down syndrome. Next slide, please. What is life expectancy, ladies and gentlemen? It has increased dramatically for people with Down syndrome. Today, someone with Down syndrome can expect to live more than 60 years, depending on the severity of the health problems. Next slide, please. What are the symptoms of Down syndrome? Flattened face, short neck, small head, protruding tongue, palpebral fissures, unusually shaped or small ears. Next slide, please. Poor muscle tone, broad, short hands, relatively short fingers and small hands and feet, excessive flexibility, brushed field spots, and short height. Next slide, please. What are complications in Down syndrome? People with Down syndrome can have a variety of complications, some of which become more prominent as they get older. These complications can include, next slide please, there are 9 of those. Heart defects, gastrointestinal defects, immune disorders, sleep apnea, obesity, spinal problems, leukemia, dementia, and other problems. We'll explain this to you one by one in our next slide. Okay. Okay. In heart defects, about half the children with Down syndrome are born with some type of congenital heart defect. It can be life-threatening and may require surgery. GI defects occur in some children with Down syndrome. It will affect the intestines, esophagus, trachea, and the anus. The risk of developing these problems, such as the blockage of gastrointestinal blockage, gastroesophageal reflux, or celiac disease, may be increased. Ways of abnormalities in their immune systems. People with Down syndrome are at increased risk of developing immune disorders, cancer, but some forms, infectious diseases such as pneumonia. Next slide, please. Because of soft tissue and skeletal changes that lead to the obstruction of their airways, children and adults with Down syndrome are at greater risk of obstructive sleep apnea. People with Down syndrome can have a greater tendency to be obese compared with the general population. In spinal problems, some people with Down syndrome may have a misalignment of the top two vertebrae in the neck. It can put them at risk of serious injury to the spinal cord from overextension of the neck. Next slide, please. Leukemia. Young children have increased risk of leukemia. In dementia, people with Down syndrome can have a greatly increase of dementia. It will begin at the age of 50. Having Down syndrome can also increase the risk of having Alzheimer's disease. Down syndrome may be associated with endocrine problems, dental problems, seizures, ear infections, hearing and vision problems. For people with Down syndrome, getting a routine medical care and treating issues when needed can help with maintaining a healthy lifestyle. Next slide, please. What are the ways on how to prevent Down syndrome? There's no way to prevent. If you're at risk of having a child with Down syndrome, consult your doctor or any genetic counselor before becoming pregnant. A genetic counselor can help you understand your chances of having a child with Down syndrome. He or she will explain the prenatal tests that are available and to explain the pros and cons of testing. Next slide, please. As we close our topic, World Down Syndrome Day is a global awareness day which has been officially observed by the United Nations member countries since 2012. Pamela, may ginagawa pa. Why March 21? It's because of the uniqueness of the trisomy of the 21st chromosome which causes Down syndrome. Down syndrome is a genetic disorder caused by the presence of all or in part of the third copy of chromosome 21. It is associated with physical growth delays, facial features, mild to moderate intellectual disability. The average IQ of a young adult with Down syndrome is 50, equivalent to the mental age of 8 or a 9-year-old child, but the number varies widely. It's the most common chromosome abnormality in humans, occurring in about 1 per 1,000 babies born each year. That concludes our topic. Let us have our next part of our show. Next slide, please. We'll be having updates in relation to the May 9, 2022 national elections. Okay, for our election 2022 update, Sara Duterte and Lito Atienza expect to skip the Vice President debate later today by COMELEC. Sara Duterte and Lito Atienza are not expected to attend the first vice presidential debate organized by COMELEC. Only Walden Bello, Rizalito David, Manny Lopez, Doc Willie Ong, Kiko Pangilinan, Tito Soto, and Carlos Serapio have committed to attend the first of the two vice presidential debates sponsored by COMELEC. So Atienza, running mate of Manny Pacquiao, declined because of health reasons. Sara Duterte ran alongside BBM, said that she decided not to attend any of the debates in the run-up to the May 9 elections. Despite their absence, COMELEC will still set up 9 lecterns on the stage, corresponding to the number of candidates for the second highest elective post in the country. Each vice presidential candidate can only bring 5 staff members to the venue, who will serve as audience members. 300 police and traffic personnel are expected to be deployed in Pasay for security and monitor traffic. The second vice presidential debate is scheduled on April 23, but it's a town hall format. The COMELEC said candidates would stop its debates will be disallowed from using their e-rally platform. That concludes our election 2022 updates. Next slide, please. Let's have the time to get to know our candidates. It's Sinoka. Know your candidates in the May 9, 2022 elections. Next slide, please. Our candidate for the day is Carlos Serapio. He is a lawyer running for vice president under the Katipunan ng Kamalayan Kayumanggi Party. He specializes in cross-border transactions between Japan and the Philippines. In his legal practice and served numerous consultancy posts under the Office of the President of the Aquino administration. He campaigned on the platform establishing a federal system of government and to address the pandemic. He is the running mate of Faisal Mangondato under the Katipunan ng Kamalayang Kayumanggi Party. He is a graduate of Ateneo de Manila University, AD Political Science. He also studied in University of the Philippines in Keio University as well. Let's vote wisely this May 9, 2022 elections. Next slide, please. So here are some of our very important announcements. Next slide, please. In support of our efforts to support our organization and as prepare ourselves for the formality of the organization and the return of the organization as a formal NGO and its SEC registration in the future, we urge everyone to purchase our products in the Hands and Inclusion Philippines online shop. So the products that we are selling, ladies and gentlemen, are the One Inclusion Nation t-shirts and the tote bags. For the One Inclusion Nation t-shirts, 275 pesos for all sizes. Red, black, blue, white, and yellow are the available colors. For the Talano Gold color, it's available in limited stocks only. 325 to 350 pesos are the price. Small to XL are the sizes. For our tote bags, it's available in white and black. Medium to large are the sizes and prices range between 150 to 200 pesos. Remember, we'll be very strict on payment. Payment first before purchase. We're accepting payments from GCash and will deliver your ordered products via GoGo Express and LBC. Next slide, please. The HNI Philippines online shop is temporarily closed for areas under Alert Level 2. Alert Level 5, rather, but it will continue to serve in areas under Alert Level 1, 2, 3, and 4 only. Its operating hours are from 12 midnight to 11:59 in the evening. For a full list of orders, please visit Hands in Inclusion Philippines Facebook page. Email us at handsin.inclusion at gmail.com. Next slide, please. So, ladies and gentlemen, we at Hunting Inclusion Philippines needs your help. To be honest, ladies and gentlemen, we have already been struggling with our financial problems in the organization. So regardless, no matter what, it doesn't really matter if the amount is smaller or larger. It would be appreciated for you guys to help Hands in Inclusion Philippines as early as now. How? Scan and donate using GCash on this QR code that is flashed on your screen. Or if you want to do the Barya para sa Inclusion Project, you don't use a coin bank. Any amount of coins can do and donate using Union Bank as well, via bank deposit as well. And also, ladies and gentlemen, what are you waiting for? Please lang. Please continue to support and help Hands in Inclusion Philippines for its fundraising project, especially for the donations via GCash and the Barya para sa Inclusion fundraising project. Please help Hands in Inclusion Philippines for its fundraising project. Where our purpose of this is to raise funds in our organization. Let us have the time to rebuild in order for us to have a bigger, better, and a bolder Hands in Inclusion Philippines. Proceeds from the sales in the online shop and for your donations will go to us in Hands in Inclusion, especially for the preparations for the formality, for the expenses, as well as the financial aid of the members due to the pandemic, and also due to the preparations as well for the formality as well, and also for the SEC registration of Hands in Inclusion Philippines in the future. So guys, for those who did this, thank you very much in advance, and also for your continuous generosity and for support, and you may graduate as well. Before we move on to our next slide, if you want to purchase accessories from Ate Lady Jean Lorese, then you want to order via L Jean Accessories by messaging her on Facebook named L Jean Accessories. You may contact her through WhatsApp or through her number 0916-167-4803 or 0951-791-3194. Next slide, please. So, if you have any problems with your computer, your laptop, your desktop, regardless if the brand is Apple or Mac or Windows, if you have problems with your phones or tablets, regardless if it's Android or iOS, and also if you have want to download music, games, and movies, then Sir Mark Paulo Bitita is here to assist you. How? You may message him at Mark PC Laptop Repair Services by messaging him on Facebook, Mark Paulo Bitita, or you may contact him at 0947 355 4759. Next slide, please. So we have some events coming up for the month of March in Best Buddies Philippines. On March 21 to 25, which is tomorrow up to Friday this week, Best Buddies Vinyl will have its Inclusion Week. There will be activities during this week with Best Buddies Vinyl, and we will end this month with Jolly Friendship Jams on the 26th. So if you want to join for the 26th, follow Best Buddies Philippines on Facebook and Instagram. Send them a message, and the registration form will be sent to you. Just a reminder, ladies and gentlemen, okay, okay. Best Buddies Philippines is a non-profit, non-denominational, and a non-political organization. We support for clean and fair elections and do not endorse any political party or candidate. As members of the Best Buddies Philippines community, please refrain from endorsing a candidate during the activities of Best Buddies Philippines. In Best Buddies Philippines, make a friend, be a friend. Next slide please, Sir Mark. Pakiskip mo yung project sold out. Pero there's update from Special Achievers, so watch out. Watch out first. So if you are hungry, then if you want to order for your breakfast, your lunch, your dinner, your merienda, any occasion, Sobra Comfort Food Restaurant and Kuya Korea Restaurant are here. For the Sobra Comfort Food Restaurant, if you especially for occasions, the foods are for the all-day breakfast, Sobra chicken tocino, corned beef brisket, homemade spam, and beef salpicao. Sizes are range between solo to large and prices are range between 265 pesos to 1,450 pesos. Next slide, please. For our rice trays, we have beef bulgogi, beef shawarma, beef gyudon, pork crackling bits, pork belly burnt ends, charred chicken, and boneless fried chicken. Sizes are range between solo to large and prices are range between 265 pesos to 1,700 pesos. Next slide, please. For our sandwich, we have the fried chicken sandwiches, pulled pro sandwich, corned beef sandwich, and chicken tocino sandwich. Sizes are range between regular, large, solo, and box of fours. Prices are range between 320 pesos to 1,540 pesos. Next slide, please. For our rice trays, pasta, we have mac and cheese and penne and gorgonzola. Sizes range between solo to large and prices range between 290 pesos to 1,350 pesos. Next slide, please. If you want to order in the Sobra Comfort Food Restaurant, here are the ways and how you can order. First, head over to the Sobra Comfort Food website. Select the dishes you want to order. Choose between pick up or delivery. Pay conveniently to any of the same integrated payment methods and your orders confirmed. Expect updates via text or email. Next slide, please. If you want to create for something Korean, you want to order some of the foods from the Kuya Korea restaurant. Menus are for our rice bowls, beef bibimbap, beef bulgogi, pork samgyup, and K-pop chicken. Prices range between 195 to 220 pesos. For our chicken, for the boneless popcorn chicken, prices range between half to whole, and prices range 235 to 435 pesos with the flavors of gochujang, ganjang, chicken, and K-buffaloes. If you want to order there, please check the Kuya Korea website for your orders as well. Next slide, please. For the webinar, De La Salle College of St. Bened, in collaboration with the Office of the Vice President for Lasallian Mission and Student Life, Center for Inclusive Education, the Benilde Student Envoys, and Best Buddies Benilde will have a webinar on gender inclusion and safe spaces with Attorney Cheyenne and Miss Amber. Now, uh, the event will be done on March 24, Thursday, during the Inclusion Week celebration in Best Buddies Benilde from 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. via Zoom. The event is free and there will be sign language interpreters for the deaf and or the hard of hearing. If you want to join, please check the Center for Inclusive Education Facebook page for the registration form. Next slide, please. Lastly, follow HNI Inclusion Philippines on our social media pages and its digital platforms as well. It will be appreciated for you guys to do this as early as now. Follow us on Facebook, HNI Inclusion PH, InkluRadio, InkluSports, InkluNihan, and the online shop. Instagram, HNI Inclusion PH, Kumu, HNI Philippines, Twitter, HNI Pilipinas. Subscribe to the Hands in Inclusion Philippines YouTube channel. So guys, for those who did this, thank you very much as well. Next slide, please. Now's the time for our greetings. For Sir Mark Bitita, shout out to Sir Jason of Tropang PWD, Cherry Antiong Marvin and the Palmera Boys, to Sir Mark Betita and Miss Lady Jane Florese, good afternoon to you and thank you for watching. To those who are celebrating their birthdays today, happy birthday and expect more birthdays to come. To those who are celebrating their anniversaries, happy anniversary as well. For me, shout outs and greetings to my family, to Hands in Inclusion Philippines, Best Buddies Philippines, Best Buddies Benilde, and other PWD organizations, especially to my high school and college friends. To those who are watching, it may be a good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you are in the world. I hope you guys are in a good mood, but if not, you may use this time to improve on your mental health and your well-being as well. For those who are watching me on InkluRadio, thank you very much as well. If you missed this episode, it will be premiered on the next day on the Hands in Inclusion Philippines YouTube channel for your viewing pleasure. Next slide, please. So before we leave and wrap up, let's have our quote for the day. Next slide, please. According to Dr. Francis de Malata, Developmental and Behavioral Pediatrician in St. Luke's Medical Center, IDD, or intellectual and developmental disabilities, refers to any of the various difficulties pertaining to physical, emotional, behavioral, learning disability, or impairment that causes an individual or specialized services or accommodation to function age appropriately. Okay, Sir Mark, can you disable the share screen, please? Okay, so as we wrap up, again, to those who are watching us on InkluRadio, thank you very much as well. If you missed this episode, it will be premiered on the next day on the Hands in Inclusion Philippines YouTube channel for your viewing pleasure. As you all may know, ladies and gentlemen, okay, so, okay, Sir Mark, on cam please as we wrap up. Okay, so that's it. That's a wrap for our InkluRadio Special Report episode for this day, Sunday, March 20, 2022. I'll be back again tomorrow for the Editorial Monday edition at 5:30 p.m. On behalf of InkluRadio and Hands in Inclusion Philippines, I am your host, Carlos Miguel Kanahashi. Together with me is my technical assistant, Sir Mark Paulo Betita. May awa ang Diyos, makakaraos pa tayo. Sama-sama tayong lalaban para sa pangarap, pamilya, at bayan hanggang sa ating tatak para sa One Inclusion nation. Ngayong ikalima ng anibersaryo ng Hands in Inclusion. Makatotohanang inklusyon, angat buhay ang solusyon. Sa HNI, posible. Pilipinas, God first. HNI, God first. So, good afternoon to all, and may the Almighty God bless us all. Pagpalain nawa tayo ng Diyos ng buong may kapal. Thank you very much for watching. Have a blessed Sunday afternoon to all. Have a productive week ahead, and a goodbye for now. Bye-bye, and see you tomorrow. Thank you, Sir Mark, as well.